So neither one of those games was very good, but here was the best that I could put together. Let's roll it.
Smith spins out of the pocket, trying to create the move. Barely stays on his feet. Still being chased and just heaves it into
small amount of money.
He's an idiot. He's a con artist.
You're an
pressure off the edge. Mayfield steps through. And he's tripped up with a first down by Gardner Johnson. Oh my God!
Hey, tonight we get hot!
In the backfield next to Stroud. On first down, end zone shot. Collins, he's got it. Came back to practice this week. He's getting closer. Mayfield, end zone. Caught for the touchdown, Ryan Miller. 5-yard drive by Fairbairn, who has started the season fielded by Johnson near the 10, and then he gets absolutely smacked. Ibuka looking for a block, got it. Emeka Ibuka, touchdown Tampa Bay. 10 years ago. And here he is, the National Football League, and what a throw. First attempt to the 90s, and hits the upright. Sprinting left, floating it, incomplete. Tampa Bay hold. Four-man rush. Mayfield has the ball knocked out. Rashad White. Hands blocked by Fairbairn from 53. And he's able to bend it. 4 sacks tonight for the Houston defense. Here's a nice return by Noel. The rookie still rolling. Flag on the play. Chubb's got 18. To it, Nick Chubb, touchdown Texans. Hot and in motion, they are going to run it. And no signal yet. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Their first 2-point try of the year. Mayfield is just going to get rid of it.
And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Fun NFL. Please like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed those highlights from the first game of the Monday Night Football doubleheader to cap off Week 2. That being the Bucs and the Texans in what was a pretty fun matchup, despite this game still not really having much of the same juice that a lot of the games we saw yesterday. Despite that, though, the Bucs do move 2-0 for the 5th straight season. I think that's the longest streak in the NFL. I hope so. That's a lot. Not we want parity, obviously, but anyway, the Bucs will they will be hosting the Jets next week in the game that I will be talking about probably on Saturday if I had to guess. But that's nonetheless, again, this was a very grinded out win for them, especially defensively. And again, the fact that, again, as you saw in the intro, Baker was able to make that big play on 4th down was the reason they in fact won this game. Texans on the other side, they fall to 0-2 for the second time in the last 3 years. They have only scored 28 points in the first 2 games. They only scored 29 in 2023, so I'm not going overreacting by that too much, but that is actually the least amount of points they've scored in their first 2 games since 2017. In that season, Deshaun Watson tore his ACL. They went 4-12. That was, again, just good asterisk for them there. Texans, though, will have a chance to get the first win of the season against the Jags team last year, where they have not, again, in that matchup against the Jags, in Duval is a game they have not lost since 2017, so I guess that's good fortune for them. With that said, though, takeaways for the Bucs. Baker overall had a decent game. He just struggled considerably like last week with those downfield sort of timing patterns, especially with Emeka Ibuka, who really, outside of that one touchdown, didn't have much of a game. Mike Evans overall had a pretty similar game to last week, except the fact that he got bracketed a lot more in this one. But I really think that, again, the fact he was kind of able to adjust that and find those softer routes underneath, I think was definitely a good adjustment on his part. Bucky Irving was a decent guy utilized as a receiver. The O-line overall was just not in a good spot right now, considering Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke were not out there or weren't at 100%. So that being the reality, I think the fact, again, they were kind of able to, again, work around that pretty well was good. Rashad White had his best running game in a while. Again, that big game-winning touchdown. Bucky kind of salvaged it, and he had a couple decent carries, but overall was definitely held in check. Baker Mayfield, again, 3 carries for 11 yards, 33 yards, a couple big scrambles there. Again, especially the one there on 4th down. Ryan Miller, nice touchdown as well. He's a guy I think could get at least get an uptick in targets. He's probably a guy until Chris Godwin can get back. We'll see what happens there. And obviously Sterling Shepard had a decent game. For K-Dine, I mean, he kind of just didn't really get used that much. There's really nothing else just to it. Defensively, though, I didn't see anything glaring in terms of their pass rush, which, again, was something that last week I think definitely could have built upon. But Greg Gaines had a nice sack, not really him doing too much. Kalijah Kancey and Vita Vea both didn't have their best games. They struggled against the run at times. Again, Tyke Smith, though, had a very nice game. He's a guy that I think could definitely be an impact player for them in the future. Anthony Fields, Zion McCollum both had pretty solid games in coverage. But outside of that, I think that Todd Bowles definitely had a good scripted game plan for this defense, and they executed it pretty well. Just the pressure rate maybe not was what you would have wanted. Chase McLaughlin, again, really an excusable missed field goal as well there. For the Texans, though, C.J. Stroud, a lot of people are asking, is he kind of just like not what he was as a rookie? I didn't think he was completely terrible in this one, but there definitely were some throws that he should have made or just straight up a progression or a read he should have gotten to, which he simply didn't. I think that was probably the fact that when he got pressured, he really wasn't aware of it. It was very bizarre. But on top of that, he didn't really make any pre-snap adjustments to kind of put himself in a better spot in those situations either. So that is probably reflected on him. Despite Nick Chubb having 11 carries for like 20-something yards before that 25-yard touchdown, I still think he had a decent game outside of, again, the touchdown. I just want to say that he got them useful yardage despite maybe not the yards per carry looking great. Woody Marks, I don't even know what this guy, Joe Quavius. I mean, yeah, again, I can definitely see it. Pause. But still, Joe Quavius, you know, he was just out there. But yeah, C.J. Stroud, he's got to play better next week if this team's going to win. They're going to probably win anyway. But anyway, Nico Collins opened the game up with a touchdown, but outside that guy held in check. And, you know, Jaquavius, he had a long play as well. That was not an highlighter, if I'm not mistaken. And then a couple other guys made some plays. But overall, they do not have another two receiver right now with Tank Dell and Christian Kirk not playing at the moment. And again, that's just a big issue overall. And the O-line also had another bad game. Defensively, though, from what I saw, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are obviously their two best pass rushers. They play like that. The secondary still looks really good. I just didn't see the same sort of level of finishing that we saw last week where they were able to, again, kind of help hold the rims in check. I'm not acting like they had like a terrible game at all. They actually played very well. They kept the Texans in this game. But the fact that, again, still against the Bucs offense that was pretty banged up, I don't think they had their they definitely left some meat on the bone there. Also, the fact that, again, they gave the drive at the end of the game wasn't good either. Again, they gave 169 rushing yards, nice. And, again, 360 total yards as well. That is not good. They were not amazing on third down defensively as well. But that's really all I got for the Texans defense, and that's really all I got for this game as well. Bucs get a big win. Texans, don't worry too much. Those were two tough games to begin the season, but that next week's definitely we're going to have to prove some stuff. But at the same time, they don't look great. Bucs, again, solid 2-0 start, but it really doesn't matter until, you know, you're playing Philly in a couple weeks. That's really what I'm looking for there. That's what I got here, though. Let's get to the second half of the Monday Night Football, and yeah, here were the highlights from that one.
Expects to be busy tonight. They take it to him, and Smith throws. Almost picked up. Looks like on a carom. It's into the hands of Dalen Henry. Field goal attempt for Cameron Dicker. He knocks it right within his range. He's good at 50 plus, and it is so guarded by Kelly. Herbert was looking that way. Now he'll take off right up the middle. Raiders bring pressure. Herbert steps up. On the move, scans end zone, a dart.
I think there's so many different things. The last thing on their mind is the snap.
Daniel Carlson talks about Mac almost went off. Herbert launches downfield. It's Johnson in stride. Touchdown, Chargers. Just on the move, scanning. As you see it in the open, now he just chucks it way downfield, and it's going to be intercepted. Trying to find. Chip shot from Raiders just used 11 minutes of clock on that drive. Ran Chargers side of it. And they are going to run a play, but it's boxed. It was an end around to Darius Davis, who fumbled. 3rd and 15. Pressure again down the middle. End zone shot. Karam and intercepted. Off the Karam. Chargers don't bring pressure. Smith has time, but he's running out of it. And he's sacked. Hampton fumbles the football. The one thing you cannot do in this situation, the rookie coughs it up.
And in a game that a bunch of people watched, I guess, I don't know, the viewership was pretty good in this game. Despite it being the latest Monday Night Football kick since 2020, the Chargers were able to, again, survive the late time. I don't know. It wasn't really late on the West Coast. But, yeah, Chargers knock off the Raiders behind a defensively fused Just magnificent performances. They win 20-9. Again, this was a very boring game. There's really no other way around it. On film, it was actually pretty interesting to look at. Again, I didn't get too deep into it, which I'll try to by the end of the week. But still, Chargers moved to 2-0. They are now 2-0 back-to-back under Jim Harbaugh. My bad. They will have a chance to get 3-0 against the Broncos next week, which seems like a very favorable matchup for them. Raiders, they'll fall to 1-1. Again, very disappointing performance overall by one guy who we'll get to in a minute. But that was definitely a missed opportunity in this game because overall their defense played very, very well, even better than they did last week. Again, that's really the one silver, not really silver lining, but that's where the Raiders are heading right now. On top of that, though, the Raiders will be heading to Washington to play the Commanders next week in what should be a pretty fun game. With that said, though, again, the Jane Daniels being injured also helps them a little bit. So, again, I think there's definitely a little bit of a missed opportunity. Anyway, though, Justin Herbert, 19 of 27 for 242 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know if it's Madison Beer. I don't know if it's because he had nightmares from that playoff game, but he looks very, very good. Hopefully, I don't know, maybe this is the start of something. But, yeah, that 60-yard bomb to Quentin Johnson was an amazing throw. He just had a very, very precise game, despite missing a couple throws on third down. Running game was non-existent. Amari Hampton looks bad. That's just simple truth about it. And then, again, Najee Harris wasn't actually too terrible, but again, it wasn't very efficient either. I don't think the O-line is really coordinated too well just yet to really, again, get that running game hammered away. But Jim Harbaugh is going to have to really work on that if this is going to be a group that will have a sustained running game. Defensively, though, not defensively. Quentin Johnston, he might be back. I really don't know, though, because he ran a couple of really bad routes and he also dropped the pass, but he did have that long touchdown. Keenan Allen, not saying he's a blast of 2023 or anything, but he looks very, very good to start the season. Landon McConkey kind of got, double and triple teamed at some points. We're not even talking about brackets or anything like that. He just simply they had 2 guys on him, and they just made it work. But, yeah, he was pretty decent against zone. Trey Harris kind of struggled to get create separation, but overall made it a really nice play. And, again, overall, the rest of those guys who got targets were at least decent. But, overall, this offense definitely not a great game, but they still were decent enough. Defensively, though, this is where things shine. Again, this is where the question comes in if they're the best defense in football. I think that is a fair question to ask because they held the Chiefs to 21 points last week. And if it wasn't for, Mahomes doing some magical stuff, it probably would have been a lot less than that. Dan Henley might be a top 5 linebacker in football. If he was, if there was a best linebacker in football, again, right now, or at least so far this season, only 2 games, Dan Henley would be my pick. He had 10 tackles, a sack, and an interception. He was absolutely all over the field, and just the fact that, again, he is a premier coverage linebacker is just so valuable. Tareeb Still and Cam Hart were also just gross in this one. They made so many big plays. Khalil Mack and Jamari Caldwell also had made very good use of their plays. Khalil Mack did get injured, though, which is a little bit of a thing. I'll see on the update on it coming up. Derwin James, though, he was very good. Obviously, Aloha Gimlin was definitely the best player in the secondary. Tuli Tupelo got consistent pressure. Just this defense overall dominated. And again, the fact they were doing what they did to Geno Smith was just absolutely crazy. But for Geno, he went 0 for 11 on passes 10-plus yards downfield, at least air yards. Also, he threw 3 picks on those passes as well, which is just absolutely inexcusable. I don't care that Geno probably didn't have the offensive line playing to where he wanted them to in a lot of the game. It wasn't the fact they were actually playing terrible. It was just the fact that, again, I don't think there's just a miscommunication between him and Chip Kelly. But that really doesn't matter on the fact that, again, you just can't connect anywhere remotely downfield. That's part of the reason Ashton Jeanty, despite only getting 11 carries, really couldn't get much going. Geno in that passing game had no downfield threat whatsoever. Again, he made a lot of bad reads. Ball placement was very lacking in this one. And just overall, he just struggled to connect with anyone more than 5 yards downfield. And again, he didn't connect with any passes over 10 yards downfield in the air, which is just absolutely crazy for me. You don't even need to watch the film to know that either. You're just going to watch a highlight or two, or even just look at the stats, and you'll just know that straight off the bat. But still, on film, he looked very, very hesitant. There were plays where I just didn't really know what he was trying to do with the pass protection adjustments, and it just kind of seemed very lackluster there. I didn't seem like they were well prepared, and they definitely got to do better next week. Jacoby Myers, though, he was decent. I just didn't think he always ran the most aggressive routes that could have created more yak yardage. Brock Bowers struggled in this one. Him and just Geno, again, they didn't get going. Again, the fact that Dayton Henley was on him most of the way as well didn't help him. Dante Thorne had one nice play, but outside of that, he really didn't get open. Dylan Laube was okay as a screen guy. Zamir White getting carries is pretty crazy. Again, Trey Tucker, I guess, had a decent game, but overall still wasn't getting targeted nearly enough. And then Michael Mayer also got out there a little bit. But again, like I said, when your quarterback can't throw the ball downfield, it is impossible to move the football. Just simple truth there. All right, for this defense, Jamal Adams, he looked pretty good. Outside of that, though, this defense just kind of didn't really have much juice going. Jonah Lalu, I don't know who this dude was at least a couple weeks ago, but then the fact that, again, he's on this team and getting a pretty decent amount of snaps kind of caught my eye. And this is a guy that has at least 2 or 3 good combo moves, despite maybe not having the really raw power to be a true good pass rusher. But yeah, he had a pretty darn good game. Isaiah Paul is just not a very bright guy. He had one of his worst games of his career. I'm going to have to do better next week again if he's probably going to even want to get nearly as many snaps. Jermaine Pratt was underwhelming though. Max Crosby and the other Malcolm Kuntz, they didn't really do much. It just wasn't a very good game overall from this defense. For the team stats though, the Chargers got over 300 yards, but neither one of these offenses were very effective overall though. But again, the fact that the Raiders couldn't throw the ball downfield, is really the reason they lost this one. That's all I got for you guys in this one though. Hope you guys, what is called, enjoy these games. Maybe not because the games were bad, but yeah, power rankings. They're coming out tomorrow, and yeah, then we get ready for week 3.
Today, Manning coming near side, having to scramble, runs back the other way, trying to get somebody open. Stops, fires back across his body. That one's picked off.